Now, as I told you, I don't have really a religious vocation because I've been rebelling against my mother. I am cutting classes. I have a boyfriend and all of that. Then one day, my father asked me, but I am very close to my father because I'm the eldest. I am Papa's girl. So one day, my father called for me and he said, "You prepare your things because I will send you to Santo Tomas University to take up medicine." Because as I said, my father was a doctor. Santo Tomas was his alma mater. I'm so close to my father that I did not like to disappoint my father to say no. But then I realized that I cannot tell him that I do not like to go. I did not like to hurt him. So for the first time, I really prayed. I really prayed that Jesus will change the mind of my father and he will not let me go to Manila. I was so afraid to go to Manila because I don't know people there. I have my friends here, and especially I have my boyfriend. And so I really prayed. But why did I pray? Because I saw that my parents are praying. So the role of parents in the formation of their children, both in the spiritual and in the material life, is very, very important. Because parents can talk, but if they cannot really live what they are talking about, then the children will not follow. When I was in the United States, I was talking to the young people there, and they told me that they tell their parents, walk your talk, and we will believe you. Walk your talk, and we will believe you. So we do not need information. We do not need sermons because we have plenty of that. We need witnesses today. Witnesses who is going to live their principles and their what they are really living in life. So I really prayed. For the first time I have prayed. And for the first time I did experience Jesus. And everything changed. That's why I said, you only need one experience in life, a genuine experience in life of God, and your life will completely change. But you need also to be advised what to do. I know that there are many people in the Philippines, young people, like singles, and all of this, they experience God, but they cannot really follow what God is asking of them because there is no follow-up. That's why we need to have a follow-up. I experienced God and everything changed. Then I started to pray. Because, as I told you, God entered into my feelings. So I do not have enough time. I pray and it completely changed my life. Instead of going to the movies, I pray and all of that. It took me only 2 months to really listen what God. Now, if you experience God, a genuine experience, because there are some people who said that they experience God. Many young people tell me that. But what is really the sign that you experience God? If it has changed your life. So you need to continue to do that even when there is no more feelings. It really completely changed your life. From a person who's always going out and enjoying and all of that, I stayed home. And I listened. It took me only 2 months to listen. And I know God was calling me to the Carmelite order. And Carmel during my time was a very austere order. But I was not afraid because it was the experience of God. And so, because I have no spiritual life at all, I know that when I will enter, I will be asked, how many hours do you pray? Do you read the Bible? Do you read spiritual books? So I started to live a real spiritual life. I prayed the rosary and all of that. So finally, when I was already sure that more or less I'll be accepted, I told my boyfriend. I said, he was the first one whom I told. I told him that I'm going to become a Carmelite nun. And he said, what about me? I said, you become a priest na lang. But, he did not become a priest, of course. But he was a very good, our relationship was very beautiful because it was really very pure. And then, there is nothing that you would be ashamed and all of that because it was a very pure relationship. And so he said, all right, if you will become a nun, I cannot do anything about that. So, but I will tell you, my boyfriend stayed on and did not marry until I made my perpetual vows. And that was 10 years. He was a very faithful man. During our times, we were really people who were faithful. We did not, because we have prayed. And then, but I think it is more for me. Why? Because when people will ask me now, sister, did you enter because you are broken-hearted? I always tell them, I have broken many hearts when I entered, but I'm not broken-hearted. Because, there are some sisters also who are called, because God calls us in many different ways. But it's the same call. So anyway, when I was already thinking that I'm going to enter, he has helped me a lot. But I think it was more for me that my boyfriend was very faithful. Because why? I could tell God, I really choose you. Because there are two choices. To get married is also very good. To become a religious is also very good. But what is really your will, God? That is what I want to know. What is your will? Because both are good. But what is really what you really want? And so, my boyfriend helped me in my desire to become a nun. But he said, remember, I'll always be here. And he still sees me when I was a postulant and all of that. But the moment I made my temporary profession, I told him no more. Because that means I'm going to stay forever in Carmel. So anyway, before that, I need to go to a deeper spiritual life. I have to hear Mass, and then I read so many books about the spiritual life, but my life completely changed. That is one sign that your experience of God is really genuine. It will change your life, at least for a time when the feeling is still there. But if you do not continue to pray, it will get lost. And many young people like that. They think they have religious life, but no. Later on, they are being carried away by all of these things, and it's a pity. Why? Because there are very few good religious today. And those who really desire to become religious, they cannot. And there are many religious today who have entered, not because they are really cold, but there were other reasons. I always feel when I talk to priests and all of that our vocation in the religious life, we have a special grace to remain celibate all our life. But if you enter and you don't have the special grace, that's the reason why we have many people, many young people also, who go astray. And I really believe, because there are times in my life that I feel when I have many crises in Carmel that perhaps this is not meant to be. Because I I entered very young. And I said, maybe I have not thought it very well, but maybe I have no vocation. But then I tell Jesus, if I do not have vocation before, you can give it to me now. You are powerful. But I think I have vocation. But I just challenge him to give it to me now. Because many religious go out because I have no vocation. But you can always tell God, give me a vocation. You are powerful. You can give it to me now. If you did not give it to me, I made a mistake. Make it right. He can do it. He is God. And that is what I really did when I have plenty of temptation against my vocation. Because I think there is no one who is married, no one who is in the religious state, who at one time or another think that better I did not enter into the states. There is always. But if you're already there, it means you are committed. And so you ask God for the grace to stay on. And I really did that. During my moments of crisis that I wanted to go home, but maybe I have no vocation, I tell God, if I have no vocation, give it to me now. Because, God likes people who are really, really strong in their commitment. No matter what commitment are those things. No? So anyway, I prayed, and then, now, many people will ask me, how sure are you that experience is from God? St. John of the Cross said that. It will change your life completely. Why? Because you are being brought into a deeper level where your perspective changes. Now, people who are professionals will always talk, especially in the corporate world. There is now a shift in your perspective. Paradigm shift. That's the word. You really change. Because at the deeper level, your thinking will be very much influenced by the Spirit. Because the Spirit is deep down in you. That's why we need to go into deeper prayer. So anyway, so I was there, and the first thing I told my mother, Mom, I like to enter Carmel. My mother almost had fainted. He said, what? You will enter the Carmelites? And then you will steal all the money of the Carmelites, and then you will go to the movies? Because that is what I'm doing at home. So I said, no, you just give me a chance. And she said, all right, I'll give you a chance. Now, but I know that after a week, you will come back. That's why when I was already in Carmel, and many times I wanted to come home because of the difficulties of our life, I always tell, no, I am not going home because my mother said I will go home. Our motivations are not immediately pure. But even that, God used those motivations in order to persevere in the life that we have embraced. So anyway, I went to Carmel now I had already a confessor, I have been praying, and then, so I said, I go to Carmel. I thought that the Carmelites are very holy, and they will never talk about the world. That's what I believe. And so, I went there, and I said, Mother, I wanted to become a Carmelite. And she said, how old are you? And she told me, I said, I am 17 years old. And then she said, so I was already preparing that she'll ask me a litany of how do you pray, what books are you reading, who is your confessor. But then she said, have you been operated of your appendicitis? Oh my God, what does the appendicitis to do with all of this? I never realized that real holy people are very integrated. They are also very human. We have a very wrong idea of what it means to be holy. We think that they are already up in the air. No. What is really a person who is holy? A person who is holy is, of course, like Jesus. It is the integration of the human with the spiritual. The Teresa of Jesus was always admired because her feet were always on the ground. She's very human. And so, the Carmelites asked me, have you had your appendicitis? I said, yes, Mother. But I was so disappointed because I thought that they will only talk about God. So what has this to do with the appendicitis? But I said, yes, Mother, I've been operated with the appendicitis even when I was still young. And then he said, what about your tonsil? Do you still have tonsil? I said, Mother, yes, I still have tonsil. And she said, that has to be taken. Now, I will tell you that what happened to me at the time, that is no more in Carmel now. We have completely changed in Carmel. That is very different. So anyway, why? Why is it that he wants that to be operated? Because during our time, we cannot go out. Once we enter, we enter. No more going out. So everything has to be finished. So he said, that has to be taken, your tonsil. So I went to my father and said, Dad, the sister said my tonsil has to be removed. You know, my father is a doctor. He said, why are you going to remove it? It's still very good. But I want it to be removed. Do you remember that I told you that when you experience God, you become very fiery? And that is what keeps me going, to be able to overcome all those obstacles. And so I said, no, I need to be operated. So my father has to bring me to the hospital and had me operated with my tonsil. And after that, I went back to Carmel. I said, Mother, I have no more tonsil. Now I can enter. No. What about your teeth? And then I said, oh my God, they're going to pull all my teeth. And then I said, Mother, I have very good teeth because in Cebu, we are eating corn. And corn is very good for the teeth. So anyway, she said, no, I only want to know if you have cavities because you need to have that now because you cannot go out to the dentist. I said, no, Mother, I have very good teeth. But you know, I was so determined that I told the superior, if you want to remove all my teeth, you can remove it. You know what? It was only later when she said, that girl was very determined. I was very determined to enter. Why? Because there was a fire within me that really, really drive me to do it. And that was the presence of Jesus that I experienced. But, of course, after a while, I entered Carmel. But then I told the nuns, I said, Mother, it was very good because the superior of Carmel said, all right, you will enter on this date. But the date was before our graduation exercises. I have already my evening gown, I have already my toga for the graduation. But I said, if I'm going to tell her I will still enter our graduation, she might think I have no vocation. So I said in my mind, I'm not going to enter my graduation anymore. But the problem was because she told me, bring your card because I want to know if you're stupid or intelligent because we don't accept stupid girls in Carmel. So I have to bring my card. But the card will not be given until the day of our graduation. So I went to the sister who is in charge. I said, Sister, may I take my card? And then she said, why will you take your card? Because it will be given to you on your graduation night. That is only 2 weeks. And I said, no, sister, because I'm going to enter the Carmelite. She said, what? You will enter the... No one will believe that I will enter. Everybody is thinking I'm only joking. There was only one who believed in me. It was Jesus who believed in me. All the time, he believes in me. So anyway, when I went there, I asked my father, I said, Dad, can you please take my card? You know, my father loves me very, very much. But I really admire my father and my mother. They were only looking at my happiness. But you know, they have done everything in order to make me enter. Now I said, that was really exemplary. But looking back now, I said, I was a good riddance at home. Because, you know, they did not know what to do with me. So anyway, I was able to enter after our examination. So I entered. I have never, you know, Jesus promised to parents who have given their children to God that they will have a very special place in heaven. Why? Because parents suffer more than the person who enter suffer. I have never seen my father cry on the day that they brought me to Carmel. My brothers and sisters were there. And so I entered Carmel. It was a completely different life. Then we were taught how to behave like holy nuns. We were told to put our hands under the scapular, to bow down when we walk, and all of that. You know, now looking back, it's really funny. Why? Because after 3 months, we all look alike. We were like dolls from the factory. And I was saying that for Filipinos, because of our culture, that is Spanish monastic, we need to be uniform. So, the same gesture, the same everything. But I enjoy that anyway. But the problem was, because when the superior brought us around the monastery, I saw in the dining room a human skull. I am afraid of ghosts until now. That's my issue. You know, they said that your issues, you have to resolve it if it hurts other people. But if it will only hurt you, it's all right. Because that will humble you. But if it hurts other people, then you really have to resolve it. Until now, I'm still afraid of ghosts. That's my issue. And people will ask me, sister, why are you afraid of ghosts when you're talking about prayer and higher prayer? And so I always tell them, prayers are nerves. You know, I believe in God, but faith and nerves are two different things. I believe in God, but my nerves cannot stand. I have issue when I was young. I don't know what it is. But anyway, it does not anymore bring me away from God. So anyway, I was so afraid of that skull, and I said, Mother, why is there a skull here in the dining room? Now, as I said, that is not anymore in Carmel. So she said, that skull is there because while you are eating, you meditate on the skull so that you will not give in to your appetites. And I said in my mind, but I never say it aloud. I said, how morbid. How can you eat if you look at the skull? Because our food is not nice. You need appetizer instead of the skull. So I never thought it is disobedience. I never look at the skull while I'm eating. But the problem is I'm afraid of the skull. And I have to pass through that room every night. I want to run, but you cannot run because it's against religious modesty. I want to open the light. I cannot open the light because it's against religious poverty. But I'm afraid. I was imagining this skull already meeting me at the corridor. So I told Jesus, Jesus, finally I'm going to run. Because if I'll open the light, everybody will know. So I asked permission from Jesus. He did not say anything. So I said, no answer means yes. So I started to run every night, run. I was only 18 years old. So anyway, at that point, that was still good. After some nights, I bumped into a nun. And when the lights were on, the nun fell flat on the floor, and it was our Mother Superior. You know, I'm telling you all of this because the principle of Teresa of Jesus is this. You find God in every reality of your life. And no matter what happens, it is God who designed it. And you discover God in your reality. Do not look for God somewhere else because He is there at the moment that you are needed because of your life. So anyway, it was the superior. So of course, and then when I ask, why is it that it is the superior? Of course, it's the superior because if it's another nun, I could tell her, please do not tell the Mother Superior, so I will not have any penance. But since it's the Mother Superior, I cannot run away. It was designed by God that it will be the superior. Nothing happens in this life without God's permission. So anyway, the next morning, I was called. Who was running in the corridor last night? I said, Mother, it was I. Why were you running? I am afraid of the skull. And then she said, are you ready for a penance? And I said, yes, Mother, I'm ready. And they said, tonight, you bring your mosquito net, your pillow, and your blanket, and you sleep inside the room where the skull is. Immediately I said, oh no, I cannot even pass there. I said that in my mind, and I said, no, I cannot pass there even at that. I'm going home. But that is what St. John of the Cross is saying always. That when you have no problem, God is holding you by the hand. But when you have problems, God carry you in His arms. It's beyond your control. So I said, yeah, if God is carrying me in my arms, I can really ask Him the grace. I always believe that the moment I became a nun, or you as a single woman or man, the moment you get married, you already receive all the graces that you need in order to persevere in the state of marriage or in the religious life. So when problems come, you just have to remind God that you have given me already this grace. Demand it from Him, and He will give it to you. Because the grace is already there. And so, after that, I said, what was I doing? St. John of the Cross is saying that when you are already having nice feelings about God, that you are close to God, you don't realize that when you are having temptations, you are having depression and all of that, God is carrying you in His arms. He is even much closer to you. So anyway, I brought my mosquito net. I was reliving my experience of God. You have to relive, because there are moments in our life that it seems God is so far away. Relive this experience when He was very close to you. So anyway, I went together with my mosquito net, my blanket, and my pillow, but I really could not sleep. And there is always guidance in our life. If you pray sometime during the day, there will be guidance because you are accustomed to listen to God as He guides you. When I was already there, I was still afraid of the skull. And then that afternoon, we were reading St. Teresa's book. That's why I advise young people, both married and unmarried, especially single people, read the Bible every day and take there what you need in order to be able to really act on it. So anyway, that day we were reading St. Teresa's book, and she said, and this is really a guidance, because when you are guided, you remember something that you read, you remember that something that your mother said and all of that. Don't put it away. God is trying to tell you that now do this because you are not so sure what to do. Why is it that it comes to your mind? So what came to my mind was the readings that we have that afternoon. Saint Teresa said, you do not resolve your problems because you do not face it head on. And so I said, what is my problem? My problem is the skull. So I went to the skull. And I said, skull, you're here. I'm facing you. If tonight you will not move, and I'll be able to sleep, I will pray for your soul for the rest of my life. But if you'll move, no one will pray for you because I will die instantaneous death. That night, the skull did not move. So that's why I'm still here. So I'm out of that dark night. I'm talking all about these little things because it takes so little to fall away from your commitment. When you will ask me, some people who are, married, sister, I want to leave my husband or my wife. And some priest said, I want now. I said, no. You did not decide now. You decided long ago because the choices that you have made has brought you today. Every choice in your life will have a repercussion in your commitment. Every choices. Life is a choice. Do not blame other people for your life. You choose it. That's why we need to pray so that we will make the right choices in life. So anyway, I was there already with that skull. So I was saved. So I'm out of it. So afterwards, there is another crisis that will come in your life. By hindsight, I look at it, and if you look at the 8 stages of human development, I was between 12 to 20 years old. I needed acceptance. I didn't see it then. But I used to reflect on my life. Why did I do this? Why did I do that? So, I remembered that I was always trying to attract the attention of my mother superior. Parents, you notice that there is a time in your children's life that they always do something in order to attract you. For example, they are going to play very loud music, or they are going to cut their new trousers, a hole here, or the hair, punk here. You know why? Because they are trying to they are trying to attract your attention so that you will accept them. Do you accept me or not? That is really what they're saying, unconsciously. If you're always going to scold and scold and scold and scold them, they will think you. That's why they go to their barcadas. I was I was I was also experiencing that, but I was trying to attract the attention of my superior. Whenever she is there, I am very good, I'm very all of that. But then, one day, she was saying, who has a carabao at home? Because we were plowing the field. Of course, everybody, many of us have carabaos, but I was trying to attract her attention. I said immediately, Mother, we have carabaos at home. So, all right, you asked for a carabao from your dad. So I went home and asked my father, a carabao. I asked, Dad, may I ask for a carabao? And she said, yes, how many carabaos do you like? Only one. The moment I have the carabao, I was saying, how will the carabao enter the car? Because the carabao is very big. Remember, I just came from school. I do not know anything. So I went to the parish priest. Because the parish priest is my good friend. During my time, we asked the parish priest all advices, no matter what kind of advice. Today, you don't do that anymore. You need to pray. Because God is going to talk to you. There is now what they call the empowerment of the laity. You are empowered to listen to what God is asking of you. But during my time, it's not that. The parish priest is the doctor, the parish priest is the everything. We go to the parish priest. But our parish priests were also very holy people. They never go out of the convent. So I went there to the parish and said, Father, I have a big problem. What's your problem? I have a carabao and I don't know how to bring it to the city. And he said, no, that's very easy. You just ride on the carabao. I really took that seriously. I think she was only joking. And I said, my God, if I will ride 102 kilometers, the carabao is very slow. How will I reach the city? And so, we changed the topic and all of that. So I told my father about it. He said, you're crazy. Why did you ask the parish priest? I have already a truck for the carabao. And so I had the truck. I went back to the city. This is only by hindsight. I choose the time that everybody was there. Why? Because I needed acceptance. These are all unconscious. That unless you pray, you will not be conscious of it. I choose the time that they were all there. When they were there already, during recreation, everybody was there. I proudly announced, Mother, I have brought a carabao. But because superiors are being guided by God, she did not react at all. And all the other nuns did not also react because during my time, we only look at the superior. If she cries, we also cry even if we do not know she is crying. If she laughs, we also laugh even if we do not know. So everybody was silent and I was so frustrated because I needed attention. Now, today, I have plenty of attention. And God knows I would still do everything for the love of God, even without those attention. And so I asked Jesus, Jesus, why do you give me so much attention now when I don't need it? And at the time I was dying to have it. John of the Cross will give you the answer. When you become free, you will have all that you desire without even desiring for it. So work for interior freedom, and you will have all that you desire. Why is it that God cannot give us? Because if we are attached to all of what we are asking, it will bring us away from God. It will bring us away from God. So anyway, that is little by little, I was already there and I have plenty of consolations. It seems Jesus was there because I was in that stage. But little by little, I found out that I do not like to pray anymore. That I was thinking, and then I had the Carabao. And I said, why did I ask for this Carabao? Now I am, because the superior told me, now you're in charge of the Carabao. Oh my God, why did I get this Carabao? So every morning I am pulling the Carabao looking for green grass in the city of Cebu. Can you imagine? So one day I look at the Carabao. When I look at the Carabao, he seems so very ugly. And then, when I imagine, why did I not go to Santo Tomas? My father told me that I'll become a doctor. I would have many friends. And I started to imagine all my friends there already and all of that. But thank God, I was inspired. I was thinking that if I continue to think of this, I will really go home. Because the Carabao is very ugly and Santo Tomas is very nice. When you have this kind of temptation, change your thought patterns. That's the only way you can get out. Because if you dwell and dwell and dwell of that, you'll have depression and you'll not be faithful to your commitment. Because all of us have temptations of our commitments, whether we like it or not. Because that is how we become strong in our commitment. Do you know what makes you strong in your commitment? It's the crises that you experience in your life. That's why today I pity young people. Because the moment they have crisis, they give up. And so they go from one state to another, from one pleasure to another, because it is crisis that makes us strong in our commitment. So anyway, after that, finally, I said, I have to change my thought patterns. How will I change? You know, when you have an obsession, all the time that is in your mind. Now I realize why. Because that is the dark night. God is purifying your mind. But there is a certain time that you need to change your thought patterns. Otherwise, you'll never get out of that obsession. And so I said, how will I? But this is now the way that if you experience God, these are the steps that you will do that I'm sharing with you. I did not know it then, but it is through my experience. It must be God was guiding me. So I said, I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to change my mind. It's so difficult if you're obsessed with something. But anyway, I said, Lucia, Jacinta, and Francisco saw our Blessed Mother while they were tending sheep. Maybe because this is a Carabao, I will see Saint Joseph. So I changed my mind and look for Saint Joseph. I never see Saint Joseph. But it changed my thought patterns. So I was already happy tending the Carabao. But one day I said, no, all my life I'll be with this Carabao. So I said, I prayed to Saint Jude. All the things that my mother told me came back when I was in crisis. She told me that she has prayed to St. Jude. That is why I become a nun. Because I am an impossible case. So I said, maybe if I will pray to St. Jude, this Carabao will also be get out of my life. So all the things that my mother said came back to me in my crisis. Mothers, talk to your children. It will come back when they are in crisis. Never mind if they do not listen. They will remember when they are in crisis. So anyway, I really prayed to St. Jude, and one day the Carabao fell into the ditch. It fell. I did not push the Carabao. It really fell by itself. And so I was freed from the Carabao. So now, I go to the next crisis. Because all our life is made of little crises. So, one day, the superior and I were riding in the car, going to our new construction. Along the way, she saw women selling fried bananas. And then she said, you go down. So I thought she'll give me money to buy fried bananas. But then she said, go down and ask for fried bananas. Oh my God. I know that it is for sale and I will say that give me banana. I cannot. So anyway, immediately I have something in my mind. She was waiting there on the other side of the road and the girl was there. So when I was there, I told the lady, Miss, can you see that nun in the car? And she said, yes, she is asking for fried bananas. She is the one asking for fried bananas. The lady was, but it is true, I'm not telling you lies. She was the one asking. I did not ask for that bananas. And so the lady was very kind and she gave me bananas. So when I went there, I was jumping and jumping because I had the bananas. I did not know that she was trying my humility. So because I was very happy, she found out that maybe I was not humble. She said, is that all that you're bringing? I said, yes, mother. Go back and ask for more. And tell her to put sugar. So I went back. So I told the lady, she said to give more because you give very little and to put sugar. The lady was very angry at her, not with me. Because anyway, she's the one asking. So anyway, when I went back, I knew that she wanted me to be humble. So I looked very, very sad because she might let me go back and forth. So I looked very sad and she was so contented. But do you know what lesson I learned from this? Do not try to humble people. That is God's prerogative, not ours. Because He wanted to humble me, I became proud. Because I thought in my mind, I'm more intelligent than you. Oh, you see? So anyway, life went on. And so, little by little, I could not pray anymore. All my thoughts were there. That is why I told you, little by little, that is already gone. And the first thing that you will meet are your issues. Are your needs that were not fulfilled. And so, one day, I was called the superior. You are called by the superior. So I went. And then she said, the sisters told me, before this, I could pray very well. I was full of consolation. I can talk to Jesus. It seems He's so close to me. I could do everything that they want me to do, no matter how difficult. Why? Remember, I told you, Jesus enters into my feelings. And I could do everything. So anyway, this time, she's already taking away this consolation because He is going to bring me deeper. Now, it is sad because no one tells people that when you reach this stage, it does not mean to say that you are not growing in your life of prayer. It means that you are going deeper into your life of prayer. It is not a sign that you are being cold. It depends, St. John of the Cross said, if during this time you are committing sin already and all of that, of course, God cannot be close to you. But if you are faithful, and then finally you don't have any feelings, it means that God is growing, living your senses. And now He is bringing you deeper. And the first thing that you will meet are your weaknesses. Because you cannot become close to God unless you are humble. And it is our weaknesses that makes us humble, if we accept them. So anyway, I start that I cannot pray anymore at the time, and then I was called by the superior. Before this, something happened that really helped me in my religious life even until now. In Carmel, when I entered, everything is brown. The house is brown, the paint is brown, the dresses are brown, and then the dogs and the cats were also brown. I was so tired of the brown because I was a young girl. I love colors. But one day, when I entered the recreation room, I saw a book that is cool green. So it was so different from the other colors. So I jumped and I said, Mother, how beautiful is this book? It's green. And then she said, no, it's not green. It's blue. And so I looked at the book and I said, it's really green. I said, what happened? And then I said, now, this is the last straw. If in Carmel the green will become blue, and the pink will become yellow and all, I'll better go home before I will be sent to the mental hospital. And I was there and I said, no, this is too much already. And it is really crisis that brings us closer to the light. That's why we always talk about darkness and light. Unless it is dark, we do not have the light. When I was just about, I said, no, I should really go. Then it was there that I began to realize, there was an inspiration deep inside me that, can you, for the love of Jesus, swallow your pride and do not insist that it is really green. Because if I will bring her to the court, I will really win because it's really green eh. Can you swallow your pride for the love of Jesus? Then I saw in that instant, why are we not transformed into the likeness of Christ? It is our egoistic desire. It is our selfish desire that we cannot really give up, and only the love of Jesus. This light helped me all throughout my religious life. Can I swallow my pride for the love of Jesus? Can I swallow my pride for the love of Jesus? Many things in our life brings us away from God, coming from very little acts of egoism. Are we willing to give it up for the love of God? And it has really helped me. And now I begin to realize, why is it that there is no transformation in our life? Because we are not willing to die to our egoistic desire, to our selfishness, our need to control, that everything has to be done according to what we think and what we say. Now, if you are serious to really live a life of prayer, you have to die to your selfishness, no matter how small. But later on, I am going to discuss that. Why are we like that? So anyway, little by little, I do not like to pray anymore. And then I want to look for other consolation. Why? Because I was feeling empty already. And I want to fill it up. But when we are in the convent, we cannot do that. But we can still escape. But one day, the superior, I was asked that the sister said, the Mother Superior would like to talk to you. And so I went and she said, the sisters told me that when Father so-and-so comes here, these are our chaplains. They were Spaniards. And he said, when the Father so-and-so comes here, you are flirting to him. Oh my God, flirting? Mother, I have a boyfriend. And I left him. How can I be flirting? But you are flirting to him. So, I did not have to fight my superior. So by this time, I can no longer pray. Because this was the time that God removes already the consolation. Before that, I could imagine Jesus close to me, holding my hand, but now it is all gone. But this is how I learn contemplative prayer. Because Carmelites pray for 1 hour in silence and 1 hour in... We were never taught how to pray. We are just told there to kneel down. So, because I cannot pray anymore, I tell Jesus, help me not to flirt. Jesus, help me not to flirt. Jesus, help me not to flirt. For 1 hour. Constant repetition of short prayer brings you into deeper levels of consciousness. And so what happens? I realized that I really flirted. So it is true pala, I flirted. Why? Because I saw it already. Now, the more I prayed, the more I realized that it is really true. Now, I will tell you why. My issue is my father. I have been very close to my father. That is why all my life, except when I was a little older, like now, no more, I am always having a crush with a man who is handsome because my father is very handsome. Because my father is very handsome. He is my issue. But I was not conscious of that. So, now I know what is my issue, I said. So, I am very careful with handsome men. Because I know I'll have a crush. But it is not bad to have a crush. As long as you do not act it out. But, if you don't know, you will act it out. So, you see what happened. I was saying, no, I did not. But you see what happens. When you have an issue, if you look at this, when I left, there is a conscious behavior. You know, it's just, but there is a conscious, no? You know what happened? When I entered Carmel, I know I should leave men in my life. So I say goodbye to my father. I say goodbye to my boyfriend because now I will have no man in my life. That is in my conscious mind. Right? As I go deeper into prayer, I reach a level where my unconscious need for my father was reached. And so what happened? When this priest, who looks like my father, come to our monastery, my unconscious need program my conscious behavior to try to attract his attention in order to fill up my need. But when I was told, you are flirting, I said, no, I'm not telling a lie. I'm not conscious. But it is my unconscious need. That is why many of us, priests and sisters, single people and all of that, commit sin. Why? Because we think that we are not doing it, we are flirting, we are doing all of these things, and we are not, we think. But it is the unconscious need that program our conscious behavior. That is why be careful with your habits, because the habits, that is already unconscious. So I program my conscious behavior to attack. That's why all my life, I am very careful if there is a priest who is like my father, because I will really have a crush on him. So one day, when I was already in Zamboanga, there was a priest there who was very, very nice. And then he said, sister, you know, there is a lady always coming to the rectory every afternoon. I'm so afraid I'll be tempted. May I come here to the monastery? And you know, Carmelites are really here to pray for priests. So I want to save this priest. So I said, you, Father, you come here. Yes, Father, you come here. After twice coming, I said, no more. The lady will be saved. I will not be saved because she is very handsome. So I said, no. You can only pray when you are free from attachments. And so, when the priest came, I said, Father, you know, Father, I am here to pray. Now, if you come here every afternoon, and one day you will not come, I cannot pray anymore. I'll be thinking, where did he go? Did he fall? Did he fell from his motorcycle and all of that? So my prayer is already disturbed. But at this point, I'm not yet in love with you. But if I am in love with you and you do not come, I'll be imagining that you are with the women there, and then I'm very jealous already and all of that. And poor me, I cannot go out. So Father, please do not come every day because I want to be free. You know, that priest is still a very good friend of mine until now. Why? Because we know our boundaries. Create boundaries. But you cannot do that unless your life of prayer makes you conscious of what your issues are.